session. Hello everyone, welcome to this next demo session on SAP S4HANA training for developers. This training includes SAP HANA, SAP ABAP on HANA, and SAP S4HANA technical concepts. In the next couple of days and weeks throughout this course, we will be learning the most powerful concepts with our latest ERP, so-called S4HANA on-premise. In this course, we will focus on the evolution of ERP system on top of SAP HANA. If you are beginner with SAP HANA, don't need to worry. We will cover SAP HANA architecture, design, and platform in this course. We will also talk about development on SAP HANA, building the different variety of views, writing the SQL script logic from scratch without a copy paste, and also exposing these objects of SAP HANA in the ABAP layer. Along with that, we will move to SAP S4HANA architecture. We will discuss how the S4HANA evolution is changing the industry with key features like CDS views, ABAP managed data procedures, performance tuning, and SQL performance worklist. We will talk about what it means for an ABAP developer to work on an ABAP on HANA project, a suite on HANA project, or an S4 HANA project. We will also discuss on migration to S4 HANA custom code. We'll talk about simplification database and features which SAP provides with S4 in terms of simplification. Together with that, we will learn how can we create analytic, transactional, and worklist kind of applications with SAP Fiori on top of SAP S4HANA architecture. We will have a deep dive sessions in SAP virtual data model with SAP CDS concept, which is typically used in S4HANA world, creating the OData services on top of CDS views, and many of these things probably a jargon for you right now. But over this course, you will be learning all these features from scratch along with me without any copy paste of code. All of this we will be doing in a live system, which is an SAP S4HANA 1809 Support Pack 2 system enabled with local access using SAPQUI, local access using Eclipse, and SAP-based ABAP development tools on Eclipse. We will also be able to consume these Fiori apps on SAP Fiori Launchpad from your local computer's browser. You would be able to create these applications end-to-end in your local machine and then deploy to the S4HANA system and transport them to the quality in production. Together with that, we will also integrate our Fiori apps with the Launchpad to see these applications working end-to-end, our end-to-end POCs. Along with that, we will also not leave our custom code behind, the code which you have developed over a period of time. It's time that it leverages the power of SAP HANA, the computing power of in-memory database called SAP HANA, and improve the performance in your company if you're working on suite on HANA projects. And also give a new dimension to your code with the help of CDS, EMDP, SQL script, ADBC concepts, which are available now with suite on HANA and S4 HANA. All of this will be done on SAP HANA 2.0 SP3 system, powered by ABAP on HANA architecture, with HANA working as a primary database, and will have a connectivity to all these systems together with a single server. So let's get started in this demo session of 1 hour. We will explore the basic features of ABAP on HANA architecture. We will talk about the architecture of SAP ABAP with top of HANA database and see how can we create a new paradigm object like a CDS, and then we will create an OData service out of that, finally create a Fiori application in this demo session. So let's get started. I will start first with the evolution of your ERP system. So most of you are already familiar a little bit about SAP architecture or SAP design, so-called 3-tier architecture, and the conventional system, so-called ECC system. ECC is your functional system, which is based out of SAP ABAP on HANA architecture, so-called S4HANA architecture. And now in that ECC system is transforming to an S4HANA system or a suite on HANA system, what it means for you. And then how can you optimize and leverage the best of SAP HANA to create your new dimension applications which are enabled with Fiori user experience. So this is the diagram which explains you the evolution of ERP system. In 1979, with the startup of a SAP as a company in 1972, the first version of R2 architecture was released in 1979. The R here stands for real time and 2 stands for two-tier architecture. With the evolution of internet and ERP applications, SAP introduced in 1992 a new architecture or new version of ECC with R3, real-time 3-tier architecture. These 3 layers are called presentation, application, and database layers. The main advantage of 3-tier architecture is to simplify your system design and allows you to make the system overall flexible so you can plug and play with any of the layers. With that, SAP also introduced a solution so-called Complete ERP with Business Suite in 2004. The Business Suite solution is a complete package surrounded with Enterprise Resource Planning Core, which includes core modules like HR, PP, MM, FICO, and surrounding with SRM, PLM, CRM, and HCM. That becomes your Business Suite. And with emergence of 2015, SAP started a new innovation on top of their most talked about database, so-called in-memory database HANA. They have released a new solution, new ERP solution, so-called S4HANA. In this course, we will try to break down the multiple myths which are going around you in your company. You might have heard about people talking the difference between ABAP on HANA and S4HANA, the suite on HANA and S4HANA, HANA and ABAP on HANA, HANA native architecture versus ERP-based S4HANA architectures. We will break down multiple myths there. And we will give you a guidance of building the latest cutting edge applications with some of the cutting edge features like annotations in S4HANA system. So let's get started with introduction of an ABAP on HANA system, how it is better than your typical R3 system. So if we talk about our R3 system architecture, as I just mentioned, we have those 3 layers: presentation, application, and database layer. That was so-called an R3 3-tier architecture. So in the presentation layer, we talk about so-called SAP GUI, and that is your presentation layer from where user interacts with such an ERP system. Then in the middle, we have the application layer. This application layer is nothing but so-called your based out of NetWeaver Foundation. NetWeaver is the technical platform. On top of it, all the applications of SAP are based upon. This provides the runtime for your ABAP-based applications as well. For example, if we try to execute a C program in a notepad file, we will not be able to do that because it needs a C compiler. Similarly, if you would like to run an ABAP program, it needs a foundation, it needs a runtime. So NetWeaver is that runtime which allows you to execute all your ABAP application. It understands the ABAP code. That's your foundation for your application layer. And then finally, the database layer, which is nothing but your storage of the data. So this was so-called the 3-tier architecture since quite long we all are aware of. Those who are associated to SAP industry or those who are even new now, you understand so-called the 3-tier architecture. But what has happened over a period of time, the solutions are moving more towards digital enterprise. The companies want faster innovation cycles. They want less time to value. They want to reduce down the implementation cycle and want the simplification of the ERP system. And that's where SAP introduced so-called a new solution in 2015 called S4HANA. So S4HANA stands for simplified. So S in S4HANA stands for simplified. And 4 stands for 4th generation ERP system. And the beauty of this system, it is based on top of SAP HANA database. So till today in your ECC system, you've been using the database as just a storage medium. There was literally no logic which was writing down in the database layer. This was just stored as a dummy store for storing all the data. All the processing logic which you used to execute was somewhere written in this layer. This is the layer where most of your processing was taken care. Most of your processing was done in this layer actually. So that was exactly your processing layer was. This was your application layer. All right. So in this application layer, all the processing was happening till today. So what you used to do, for example, if you're an ABAPer, you understand that when we've been asked to write a report program by our manager, we write select star from database, from Mara table, pull all the data in my internal table, loop at internal table and do the processing. And then feed that data maybe to an interface, to an ALE, to an IDOC, maybe write a body, write a BOPI, do the user exit, do the function exits, or write IDOCs, or do all the kind of processing which you wanted to do was done in the application layer in the form of an ABAP logic. That was the main programming language we used there on the application layer. But now with introduction, and database was used just as a dummy store. We just dump our data in the database just to keep it. Hey, can you store this somewhere? So that is why what was happening till today. But with emergence of new technology, the reduction in the memory cost drastically. You remember the time when you used to buy a small iPhone or a small iPod, which used to store just hardly 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 songs with the cost of, let's say, 150 bucks, $150. And now the same is available in as cheaper as $20, $10, $20, $25 with 1 gigabytes of memory. So with a drastic reduction in the memory price, it was possible to design a database which keeps all the data in memory. As a result of that, you get a great performance improvement. And that's what exactly this HANA database is. Of course, in the upcoming chapters, we will have a deep dive inside SAP HANA. As part of this course, you should not know anything about SAP HANA. You are very much beginner to SAP HANA. We'll start with the introduction of SAP HANA in our next session. So this is what has happened. SAP has now slowly replacing the database layer, all the typical RDBMS system, which was maybe using MaxDB or DB6 or Oracle database, now replaced with SAP HANA. So this was the first change which has happened in the bottommost layer. Now, what exactly it impacts? How does it impact the way we work with this SAP system as an application developer? So earlier, what you used to do is most of your processing logic was actually written on the application layer. So if I try to draw this in a pyramidic approach, where exactly most of your processing logic occurs, it's like this. If you see here, the larger the size of the pyramid indicates that more processing was happening on the application layer and the less processing was happening on the database layer. But now with SAP HANA, the data is being stored in memory. Hence, you also get more power with more RAM, and you get a very wealthy system with a lot of system resources, computing power, keeping the data in memory, drastic reduction in the cost of the memory. You are now capable of doing more. So earlier you were fetching all the data all the way from the database layer to the application layer and then doing all the processing over here, which was very costly because over this network tunnel, you got to transfer more and more data. And all the processing takes place on the application layer, which has very limited resources. Hence, your performance was compromised at times. You are bound to not do certain things which you wanted to do in an ERP system, like complicated mass batch operations. But now with SAP HANA, it is possible. It gives us more computing power deep into the database layer. So we are going to explore all these in our course using the techniques like views, like CDS views, like attribute analytic and calculation views, like SQL scripting, AMDPs, ADBCs, like writing procedures, UDFs, anonymous blocks. All that we will be achieving. And now with that, you will be able to push down this logic deep into the HANA layer. And now once the data is is processed in the database layer, you only transfer the final result to the application layer. Now look at the advantage of this approach. The first of all, this approach has a name, and that name is called code to data paradigm. So this approach is called code to data paradigm. So in interview, somebody asks you what is code to data paradigm. So code to data paradigm in definition is actually when we push down our logic deep into the database layer, which is so-called HANA. It has more computing power so that we can achieve the best performance out of an SAP ABAP on HANA system. So that is what called code to data paradigm, where you're pushing down the logic into HANA. And why are we doing that? Because now our data is stored here, and if we process the data here, it is less costly. You don't have to transfer large amount of data to this layer, so your network cost comes down. You're investing heavily on the database layer because database cost is higher because it's an in-memory database, and it keeps the data all in the RAM. So the potential bottleneck of processing and transferring the data from different layers has been reduced down, and now you can achieve a code to data paradigm to get the best performance out. And this is what a big shift now, the way we work with the new system, which is based out of SAP HANA, or be a BW on HANA system, or be in a ABAP on HANA system, or be in an S4 HANA system. This is a great advantage which we get over here. So this is called code to data paradigm, where more and more processing logic is now going slowly into the database layer. And throughout this course, I will be covering multiple techniques to achieve this code to data paradigm. But this has also at times implication in terms of application programming. How you used to program your typical reports, they are subjected to change, because now you have to use new techniques, new ways to apply analytics, to apply transactional processing, so you can get best out of SAP HANA. So maybe till today in your company, you may have an SAP HANA database. On top of it, your ERP is running, but you're not able to leverage the best benefit out of that till today. But from now on, with this course, you will be equipped to utilize the power of SAP HANA in your ERP system. With that, you will also be able to build new dimension applications. So that was one change, big transformation, which has happened over a period of time in the ERP world. The second transformation which has happened, SAP also improving this NetWeaver layer. So NetWeaver, from SAP NetWeaver 7.4 onwards, we get lot of new features. There is a new ABAP syntax which was introduced. There were a lot of transparent optimizations. There are new frameworks like integrated data access with the ALV, fuzzy search, fault tolerant search, the context-based searches, creation capability to create OData services, the gateway architecture. Don't worry about these jargons, guys. I'm sure many of you would have tried learning ABAP on HANA or S4HANA from different materials, videos, blogs, wiki pages, but till today you were maybe not that successful, because most of the trainers and the approaches which they take is copy paste approach. They will just say, you okay, copy this code, paste this code, somehow you get your output, but you're not getting that sense of understanding the deep level, the architecture side, the detailing side, how the system is behaving, what has exactly changed, what is that now I'm able to do more out of system, the same system which is now coming with the enhanced architecture, the enhanced version. We will discuss about the features of SAP NetWeaver 7.5 as well. There are a lot of features like CDS table functions, Fury annotations, UI annotations, analytic annotations, VDM. These are all the new features with 7.5. We will be discussing about 7.4 to 7.5, all the latest features and syntaxes which has been changed in ABAP layer as part of this course. Right now, don't be overwhelmed by the topic names, which I'm just giving it here. All of this, I'm just giving you a brief idea in this demo session to understand the big picture and get that right feeling that what is that we are going to achieve and do at the end of the day. All right, so now that was another change in the middleware layer. So you see the first change in the database layer, it's been transformed to HANA DB, an in-memory database. The second layer is on the application layer, transforming to 7.4 and now moving to 7.5. The latest version is 7.53. And then on the front end side, this is what I love the most. But from here, now you see the way user consumes the software has also been changed drastically over a period of time. In the recent years, you see more and more consumptions of the front end, the applications, the end user interface has been came into the browser. So some years back, it has came into the browser. So when it came into the browser, SAP introduced two technologies, so-called BSP and WebDynPros. WebDyn Pro was then available on WebDyn Pro ABAP and WebDyn Pro Java, and that was a very popular programming language as an ABAP developer. I myself am a WebDyn Pro developer for about 10 years. I worked on this technology, but slowly now you're seeing a big shift. Everybody is talking about so-called SAP Fiori. That's the new UX, that's the new user experience of SAP world, where now we get applications which are coming with this nice, beautiful blue crystal and a Bleeze theme. And now Fiori 3 is coming with conversational UI, auto Copilot, and a lot of these conversational UI and artificial intelligence features built into it with SAP S4HANA architecture or S4HANA solution. Most of the applications are already visually harmonized to Fiori user experience, or they are built by Fiori UX. And that's another shift on the presentation layer, which is happening over here as part of the presentation layer, where now this is moving more on the mobile, the tablet, and the desktop and projector-based screen. Adapt your UI automatically based on the device you execute. You got to write only code once, and it adapts the screens automatically based on the device. That's the major advantage of using Fiori. Along with that, it is role-based, contextual, current experience. It has a Fiori security concepts, a central entry point for all the applications, so-called Fiori Launchpad. We have theme designer to apply custom theming and branding options. We have conversational UI. We have Copilot. We have context search. We have App Finder. We have user customizing, personalization. We have tile-based access, adoption of apps in based on the devices. All lot of new features are coming up with the Fiori user experience. So now in this course, actually, we are going to touch almost every layer. The major work which we will be focusing is on the backend side, the HANA side, and also we will touch upon a little bit on building this Fiori application. In fact, that's also something which I will show you in today's demo session. We will create a nice, beautiful Fiori application. But don't be overwhelmed by my demo today, because this is just a demo session to give you a kind of feeling about how will the classes be, what will be my teaching strategy, what is that we are going to cover in a nutshell. But over a period of time, when we'll go getting into the classes, we will start something from scratch, as if like you are a fresher on and you just have a basic experience or basic idea on ABAP. So this course is more suitable for those who are starting very new to SAP HANA, SAP ABAP on HANA. You might have heard these words somewhere, but never experienced anything about these things. So this is where we will be starting our or setting our starting line. So we will start from line ground zero. So maybe don't be overwhelmed by my demo today. I may talk about a lot of things, but please understand this is just a demo session. There is a lot which we all have to achieve together, starting from the scratch. You might have seen my demo videos on the YouTube on SAP UI5, Fiori, Gateway, Launchpad, OData, ABAP on HANA, S4HANA, S4HANA technicals, extensions, in-app extensions, side-by-side extensions, Olingo, SAP Cloud Platform, WebID Full Stack, Fiori Security, Launchpad, Gateway. All these concepts you might have seen my YouTube channel, where you would have seen all these demo session and got impressed by that and joined this demo today. Probably it's going to be like that. And it's my promise to you that we will not do any single line of copy paste of code. That's not the right strategy, because trainers who are doing a copy paste of code, they are cheating you. They are not going to cover the concepts line by line, making you understand the meaning of the line. But in this course, it's my promise to you that we'll not do any copy paste of code. With that, let's get started and see what is that in today's demo session we're going to see in the system. So what I'm going to do is I will create a very simple report using CDS view. So basically, imagine that you've been writing an ABAP program, and then using this ABAP program, you're writing a module pool, and this module pool was showing some data to the user. This is what you've been doing in the typical ECC world. Or you be working on a BW system. So you were writing as a BW consultant a BAX report, or data extractors, BW extractors you were using, and then on top of it you is using some BW tools like Crystal Report, BobJ to extract this data and showing an analytics. So this is what you've been doing either in any of those worlds, but now you see in BW itself there is not much opportunities. You're finding in US market, you're not getting much of openings there, and everybody's talking about CDS, latest concepts, S4HANA, because that's what is really an industry shift also happening. the SAP HANA architecture is actually bringing together both the transactional and analytic systems. And we will be exploring this in detail in our upcoming days. Start with the live session. All right. So now imagine this is what you've been doing. And now what we do with this S4HANA system as of now in the demo session, we will be writing a simple CDS view. And what is the purpose of CDS view here is to extract the data from the systems, what you've been doing with the select query by far. And then I'm going to write a screen. And guess what? This screen is going to be a Fiori user interface, a Fiori screen. Yeah. So that is what we will be doing in this demo session. Now, which are all the development tools are we going to use to achieve this small POC today in this demo session? So the first tool which I'm going to use is something called Eclipse tool. And it is powered by ADT, ABAP Development Tools and Eclipse. And don't be overwhelmed with this Eclipse and ADT. Many people may think, what is ADT? What is an Eclipse, Anubhav? Don't worry about it. I will be explaining this in our chapter number 4, starting from scratch, what is Eclipse. Now, it is a myth. Many people think that if it is Eclipse, is it Java? Not at all. In this course, there is no talking about Java at all. There is no Java required for this course. Eclipse is just another development tool. It's an open source development tool, just like any other development tool. What you do in SE80, similarly, you can do it in Eclipse. It's just a development tool. Nothing to do with Java at this point of time. So we'll discuss the installation of the tools, what tools are required, how to install them, set up them, connect to your system. All this we'll be covering in chapter number 4 of this course. And then for developing a Fiori application, a user interface, I will be using something called Web IDE. Web IDE, as the name stands, web. Web stands for internet, web-based, and IDE stands for integrated development environment. This is another development tool which we will be using to create a small Fiori application on top of your existing data. So what is that I'm going to do? I'm going to create a small application on business partners table. So I have a connection to my S4HANA system. I will just go to my S4HANA system and show you the table first, and then I will show you creating a very small CDS view. CDS views right now, just understand the very basic. It is nothing but a query, a stored query. Okay, maybe of course may not be sounding it very technical at this point of time to not confuse you, but I would just understand that CDS view is just like a view. It's a query which reads the data from your table. Okay, the benefits of CDS view, the advantage of CDS view, the annotation concept of CDS view, the detailing of CDS view, the ways by which CDS are created, CDS security, AMDP, or CDS table function, how to create joins between CDS, create association, writing this DCL for CDS, metadata extensions. All these things we will be discussing deep dive inside CDS view chapters. There is 40% of this course actually based out of CDS. Okay, so now right now for this demo session, I'm just going to write a very simple CDS to extract data from my database table, and then I'm going to consume this in a Fiori application. So let's get started. I'll quickly switch to my development environment. How did I got this development environment activated in my system? Don't worry about that right now. I will explain you that in the chapter number 4. So I'm going to show quickly a table, database table, which I have in my system. So I'll go there to Control-Shift-A. This is so-called Eclipse environment with ABAP development tools. I will explain this tool and installation, setup, connection, everything in detail in chapter number 4. Try to understand there's a tool which we will use to do some ABAP development. So I'm going to go and search for a table, SNWD Business Partner table. So this is a table in my S4HANA system, which is given for practice and demo purpose, like you used to use S-flight tables in the trainings when you started about programming in your life. Then somebody or trainer would have taught you S-flight table. Similarly, this is another database table which present in SAP S4HANA system. I'm just going to F8 and show you some data over here. So you see, it's storing some dummy data for the business partners. Yeah, that's the data it's actually storing, and you can see it stores some company names, some business partner ID, the contact number, the fax number, and I'm going to write a very simple query using CDS, and then I will be exposing this data in a Fiori application. And this is going to be very easy and simple to understand. So let's get started. I will first write my CDS view. So I'm going to come to my user over here, right click over here, and I will just create a CDS view. Okay. Now imagine a CDS view as your data source as compared to your select query in the past. The benefit of CDS view, it is right now understand it is one of the best technique to achieve code to data paradigm, because when you create a CDS view, it creates a view inside of database, inside of SAP HANA, and that gives you a power to compute things up in the database, and hence you get an improved performance as compared to writing select queries, which are then passed through multiple layers of ABAP and then given to the database, which takes a lot of time. So here it is all feed to the HANA directly. HANA view gets created, and HANA then gives you the data out of the box. Only the final transfer of the data takes place from the database to the application layer. So I'll just go inside and I will create a new CDS view. Just come here, say core data services. CDS stands for core data services. Don't look at this demo as if you are an expert. I'm just covering my style of teaching in this demo. I'm not going to go deeper into these topics, but there is a dedicated units planned in our course on each of these topics. So let's create our data definition. I'm going to name this. So guys, together we're learning. We will also learn best practices. See, anybody can develop the code, but what code which you developed goes through the proper reviews. What if your architect reviews your code? How many good marks are you going to get in that review? How many bad comments are you going to get review? Many times, many of my students says, Anubhav, I developed a piece of code, but I'm not happy with what I did, because somehow I got the output, but I know in my heart that this is probably not the best way, probably not the right way, probably not the perfect way, probably it can create problem in the production in future. I don't know what I did somehow by looking at some internet blogs, and this is very dangerous situation at times, because you are relying on somebody else's code. You don't know how will it behave. Yeah, so just somehow got the output to keep your manager happy, but not really going to help you in the long run. So we will be learning all the best practice and gold standards in our course to make sure that what code you build is robust, it's maintainable, it is extensible, and you get always good marks in your reviews. So let's start with the name. So I'm going to use a name. It was, of course, a Z object, Z, and I name my company name online Fiori Training Stockholm FT underscore. Let's say we'll start with August, and I say demo. That's my CDS object name, core data service view name, and I'll say my first demo view, and I will say next. And now if you remember, I've selected here the $TMP, the local object. Of course, if I give a productive package, then system is going to prompt me for asking a transport request. So with the help of that, I can transport this object from my dev system to QNP like your normal ABAP program, what you transport. So maybe just give a package name ZOFT pack. That's my package. And this is a package which is provided by my architect. I'm going to say next. And now here you see all my transport requests over here. I can also create a new transport request, give some description, my demo session on S4HANA plus ABAP on HANA. So we're going to learn both of it in as part of this single course. And I'll say next. And this is then created a transport request, as you can see on the top. And I'm going to say finish. And let's see now what it gives me. It gives me a beautiful CDS. But oops, it has actually created a very advanced type of object called CDS table function, which we are not interested. We are interested more or less on a simple artifact. All right, that's what we are interested. So maybe I'm going to change this. So I'm going to write define view. So maybe I just use again the wizard, maybe not saving this. Just going to delete this again, going to create another one, and it's logged in the same transport request, the deletion as well, and I'll quickly go back and create another view. Maybe just go ahead, because I have already selected an old template which was creating a advanced type of object which I don't want right now. So I'm going to just give it demo Anubhav and say Anubhav's first CDS view. And let's keep the name a little shorter. Just going to remove this August over here. ZFT demo Anubhav. That's what I'm going to create. And now I'm going to say next. Already logged that in a transport request. The next, and now here you see there's a nice little wizard which allows me to create what type of object. I'm going to teach you all these variety of objects like hierarchies, normal CDS with association, parent-child relationship, CDS with table function, and all these things we're going to learn as part of our course. And I'll say finish, and this creates my data source to extract the data. Now, first thing which I need to give on the top is my view name. So let me give a view name ZDemo Anubhav. Remember, the view name should be less than 16 characters. This is a certification question. What should be the max length of the view name in a CDS view? It should be 16 characters because it is going to create a DDIC view in the system with the same name. So I'm going to show you Control 6 to open an SAP GUI window in the same Eclipse-based window. And I'll quickly go to SE11, show you if this view exists already. Of course, it doesn't exist because I'm just still creating it. So just go to SE11 and we will just keep the view name, copy that and just put sorry in the views. And I'm going to say display. You would observe that right now it does not exist. It still doesn't exist, of course, because I've not yet activated my view. So that's this view name. It's going to create a DDIC view with this name, which we give here. Remember, again, the length of this is 16 characters. You can also come back and check here. Press F1 on your view, and you can see the max length is 16 characters. That's the reason you should never give the name of your CDS SQL view name here as not more than 16 characters, because otherwise it's going to give you activation error. Now, what you see this symbol at the rate of, now this is so-called something, the name of this thing is called annotations. So what is annotation? Annotations are actually in the world of CDS, they are the ways to telling the system, hey system, I want to do something of this kind. For example, there's an annotation to make sure that I want to give a controlled access to my data. I don't want to give access of all my data to everybody. So that's this authorization annotation. This is used in CDS security concept. And then you can also tell the CDS engine when your CDS view is executed, in what order the filters, the where condition should be evaluated. Yeah. When your CDS view is created, this view is created, when it is created, what will be the keys for the CDS? So I want to keep my keys same as my database table keys. So that's why I say preserve key as true. So these are all different annotations. Of course, we're going to learn these annotations in detail. And there are a lot of annotations like UI, analytic, VDM, object model, semantic object, all these annotations we are going to cover as part of this course to make you understand completely the details of the CDS. That's why CDS is also called a semantically rich data model. That is the main reason why, because it has an annotation power. Don't be overwhelmed with these terms right now. We'll start from scratch when we get into the CDS chapter. And now I'm going to give my database table name, which is SNWDBPA. That's my table name. I just give it. Now, another interesting thing about CDS, which is so-called FundaFox. So FundaFox is a word which I invented during my schooling days. Whenever you used to read a book, there were certain things which are very, very important about a topic. And if you remember that topics, FundaFox or that highlighter, then it is important that when a question comes in your exam, you have to write that important highlighted thing, because that's the crux of entire paragraph or the chapter. So that's what I call FundaFox. So if you go to certification, or if you go to the interview, remember a lot of questions will come from this FundaFox. So the very first FundaFox is the CDS view is not case sensitive. So CDS view code is not case sensitive. That's a good news. Like ABAP. So ABAP code is also not case sensitive. You can write whether in capital letter or small letter, it doesn't matter. So I can also write SNWD PPA in small letters. That's the beauty, guys. It's not case sensitive. So now I can do control space for code completion, and it shows me a lot of fields from that database table to be put as part of my view. I'm going to put that, and you can see now here it has put my put my fields, all the fields from the database table. I'm going to keep the node key as a primary key of this table, and BP role, email address, phone number, and rest all the things I'm just going to simply remove at this point of time by keeping just the company name and the BP ID. That's what we do here. Okay, now we are done. I'm going to save this up and let's activate. And that's your very simplest CDS view example. This is something which is very basic, ground zero, guys. I have not yet explained the architecture behind the CDS view, what happens when you activate, what are all the artifacts which are generated, why it is a code to data paradigm. These are all we will be covering in the course when you learn the concept of HANA, when you learn the concept of code to data paradigm, when you learn the code push down mechanisms. At that point of time, you will be more clear. Right now, it's just a very simple demo to make you understand how we will be learning these things from scratch. And now we just go back and quickly check if this view is created. I'm going to go back here and now say view. Please enter my view name, which I've given it there in annotation, and now say display. And voila, you can see my view is created, and this is my DD view created out of that CDS view. So CDS view, when you activate it, actually creates two things. One is it creates a DD view in ABAP layer in SE11, it is visible. Another, it creates a HANA view in SAP HANA. We're going to display that in our upcoming days chapter. I'll show you how does the HANA view looks like, the runtime object, the schema concept in HANA, the concepts of delivery units in HANA, the transportation, the bottom-up approach, the top-down approaches, all this we'll be discussing in detail in our classes. And now this is the view. I can also do a data preview here, but let's do the data preview over here, maybe on CDS. I'm going to press F8, and now you will see it is actually fetching all the data from my CDS source. My CDS source is this business partner table. But now, earlier what you used to write a select query, and now you're writing a CDS view. The benefit, as I mentioned, is actually getting you that data much faster because it has created a HANA view, and all the processing, if at all you got to do, that will be done inside SAP HANA. All right, that is what will happen. Now, what I want to do is this data which you see here as a select query result, maybe I want to show it in the UI. And what we used to do earlier in the past, we used to create something called module pools or dialog programs or Webdin Pros or VSPs, or maybe create some analytic reports. But now in this new architecture, we want to go and create a Fiori application, and it's very easy. Now understand, a Fiori application is a web-based application. Okay, it's a web application. Now the thing is, your CDS view is not directly consumable by this web application. It follows web-based architecture because it's based out of a framework called UI5, and that is a web framework. It's a web architecture, and to access the data now from your ERP system, you can't access a CDS view. This is another myth in the people, that I can create a CDS view and that is supplying the data to my Fiori app. No, it never happens. A Fiori app cannot talk to the CDS view directly. What it talks to is something called a service. Now, it's another myth that people think that the service is always a web service. Guys, there's a difference between web services and the services which we're creating in the new architecture. So basically, understand there is a black box right now for you, and this black box is called an OData service. So an OData service is actually a channel. Using this channel, you are exposing your data to a Fiori app. So now the next step, in the step one, we created a CDS view. In step two, now we need to expose this data out of a CDS view to an to convert to this an OData service so that my Fiori application can use this. So to do that, it's very easy. Another power of CDS architecture is using annotations. You remember, annotations gives you a lot of power. So one of the annotation which you can use here is @odata.publish, and you can do control space to do code completion. And now this will now create an OData service out of your CDS view directly. Now, what will be the name of the OData service? So this is our step number 2. The below annotation is going to create to produce and service. which can be consumed by any web application. And when I say any web application, it can be any web app. It can be a, a simple normal web application built using ASP, JSP, web, website, anything. It could be a Java application. It could be a .NET application. It could be a Node.js application. It could be a UI5 application, Fury application. So anybody can consume now the data of your ERP system. This is one of the major channel which we use these days to achieve the integration. So the integration with the SAP systems, SAP S4HANA system is achieved via these OData services. Now, have you seen my video on my YouTube channel, what is API Hub? If you're not, then I would strongly recommend you to go to my YouTube channel with the name Anubhav Oberoi. And you can also, you might have heard about this term called API Hub, SAP API Hub. Okay, you can always go and check my video on SAP API Hub. You can see it here. In this, I've explained SAP is also publishing a lot of different APIs. Okay, SAP is publishing a lot of these OData services and SOAP services for you to achieve integrations. So that is what covered in this this short demo to understand what is an API. So basically, it's an SOAP service, REST service, or an OData service which allows you to integrate your SAP solutions, the new dimension SAP solutions like S4HANA with other solutions, be it SuccessFactor, Ariba, Fieldglass, Concur, Calidus Cloud, maybe maybe Salesforce.com or Workdays or a custom Java application or .NET application. Earlier, you used to use BAPIs to create a remote RFC and create and consume the data or web services which are based off SOAP architecture. But now there's the new way, so-called OData services. And all the list of these APIs are published publicly by SAP for standard objects in the API Hub. So this is the video you can always check. Anyway, you can always go to my channel for finding the latest and greatest videos on these latest technologies. Of course, not everything is published on YouTube, and that is why we have these courses designed for you dedicatedly to make you understand things. But yes, still a lot of knowledge, lot of free videos are there on YouTube for you to leverage the power of this new architecture, to take the leverage of this new SAP solutions, the Fury architecture, and all of these things. You can learn a lot. But of course, it makes more sense if you attend my regular batches, because that's where things are given in sequence. On the YouTube channel, it's more of like, demo videos, sample videos for quality checks, and making you understand the latest advanced concepts. My existing students keep giving me questions, and I always respect their questions. I don't leave your hand after the classes, after the course. I still there with you for lifetime. Whenever you have a problem, you're stuck somewhere, you can always come back to me and ask questions, and I will promise that I'll get you the YouTube video for that. Like you can see, one of my students wanted to know how to integrate camera with Fury app. So you can take photo from your Fury app from your mobile, and then you can store it in an SAP system. So these are the kind of sessions which are very advanced, high level stuff. If you want to do a prototype of a Fury app, where do you do that? You want to design a Fury elements, you want to become a SAP full stack developer, what is that you need to do? So a lot of guidance is also given there on my channel, not just the technical learning, but also the guidance in terms of what should you do as a developer these days. This is one of the most powerful video of all time, how to become a full stack developer. Hey, here is where I've explained what is the salary package you can expect after becoming an SAP full stack developer. You see, people are making 3 times their current salary if they are the permanent full stack developer. Who's a full stack developer? Why everybody is trying to become a full stack developer? Because there are a lot of surveys, a lot of these big shot companies like SAP, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, they always hire full stack developers. The product companies, they never hire, or maybe there is chances that they will not hire you just because you are a batsman or just a bowler. You need to be an all-rounder. To become an all-rounder, you need to focus to become a full stack developer. And I have the guidance for you to how you can, in 6 months of time, with very little effort, you can become a full stack developer and get an exponential raise in your salary. There are a lot of facts and figures about it. Most of the developers call themselves as a full stack developer because they get more payouts. With that, their value is more. Their payouts are made. They are getting more calls. They are getting more projects. If you're a consultant in US, a freelancer, then make sense to become a full stack developer. That should be your next target to be. So I'll give you the right goals, the right strategy. So maybe there are trainers who will give you the teaching, but I will give you the strategy. I will give you the tactics to market yourself, to position yourself with all the interview questions as part of our course. So there is no way that you will probably not get selected in the interviews and certification. So now in the next step, since we have added this annotation, I'm going to reactivate, and you would now see that our service will be created out of the box. So that's a very easy step, how a service is created out of this data source. And now you can see there's a small symbol here which indicates that now the service is being created. But hey, what it says, yeah, I created a service for you, but this is not yet active. So we need to activate the service, and it's a one-time activity. Okay, so after step 2, in the step 3, we need to activate the service. So when you activate a service, what happens exactly? System creates an ICF node. ICF stands for Internet Communication Framework. If you want to create any web service or web-based application or web-based interface out of SAP system, you have to create an ICF node. And creating an ICF node manually is a very cumbersome process, and that's where SAP gives you here a transaction code to activate these OData services for you easily. So you can go back to our SAP system, and the transaction code to activate the OData service is /n/iwfnd/main service transaction. Don't worry, I'm going to put all these details in as part of my presentation, and I'm going to share this presentation. You can download and keep it with you for lifetime, so for your reference. Always take a print of my presentation in interview, and I can guarantee you that you will not come without taking the offer letter at home. All right, so now let's go back, and this is the transaction code /IWFND. I'm just going to execute that, and that's where I'm going to register and find my service. So guys, what happens behind the scene, system generates an OData service with same name as your CDS name, _CDS. So copy this name, go back and do a add service here, and I'm going to say please register my service. The service name is my CDS name _CDS, press enter, and voila, you see that entry over there for your OData service. What is an OData service? Don't worry, I will cover from scratch what is an OData service. Right now, just understand it is the only agent which is consumed by Fiori. A Fiori application can only talk to an OData service. Right now, just understand that much is sufficient enough. This is the only channel by which it will call the application layer. And now I'm going to just register local object. Of course, you can also lock it in a transport and send it as part of a transport request to queue and P system accordingly. And now this is created. So I'm going to go back to my CDS, and over here in the outline view, you would see there are secondary objects, and it shows that yes, for this CDS there is an extra object which was generated due to annotation, and that object is your OData service. You can see it's shown here. I can right click, and I can now say, hey, please open that for me. And guys, did you observe that I'm doing all of this in my local computer? Yes, exactly. The way you work with an environment in your company by using your local machine, connecting to SAP GUI, connecting to the browser, connecting to everything like in an intranet environment, we have a server, very powerful. It allows you to connect everything from your local machine. Yes, exactly. So you can connect to also SAP GUI as if like you're working in your company network to our SAP system also as well there. Okay, so I'll just quickly show you a glimpse of the same. So maybe I just open my system over here, and now you see in my local computer I have a SAP GUI installed, and I am now able to open the system from my local computer. Yeah, that's the beauty here. I am able to connect to this system from my local computer, and I can do the way I work in my company. So in my company, when you guys have your company laptop, you go to the company, you connect to your company VPN, and then you're able to access your SAP systems. Similarly, you can do that. You just need an internet connection. That's it. And then you're able to connect to our server, onlinefurytrainings.com server, with the help of your local machine. Everything runs on local system, and this is pretty fast and amazing. And this is an S4HANA latest release we are on to. So you get all the cutting edge features. Maybe in your company you don't have S4HANA today, but you can experience these features right away. Prepare yourself for future and mesmerize your manager when the S4HANA is implemented. You can see S4 Core 103. That is the latest of 18 on 18, I think 18 19 this is 1902 system. That's what we have it available. Actually it's an on-prem, so 1811 it is, we have it, sorry, 1809 it is. So cloud version has 1905, 1902. So this is 1809, latest version of S4HANA on-premise system. What is an on-premise? What is a cloud? We will discuss that in coming days. And you can see the database here. It's based out of HANA DB, HDB system. This is the primary database is HANA, as you can see there. So now I can also go to the same transaction and find my service over there. So filter, please search for my service, which I just registered. And there you go. Now from here you can see there's an ICF node created and it's green, it's activated already. So maybe I can run from here. I say call browser, and this will ask me, hey, would you like to launch it? Yes, of course, why not? And there you go, your first OData service is live, my friends, on the browser, and this can be consumed by any third-party applications, be it a Java application, a .NET application. They can call a service or Node.js or UI5 or a Fiori. So in this context right now, we're going to consume this OData service with a Fiori application. So I'm going to copy this entity set name. So what is an entity set? What is an entity type? All this we'll discuss in coming days. Right now, understand this is your endpoint for accessing the data. And I just put that endpoint and press enter. And now here you can see you've got the data. All your business partners have come, guys. You can see the data which was visible there is now available as part of a service output. Don't be overwhelmed and confused with this output. This looks very difficult for you maybe now to understand, but just keep it as it is, that there is some output which is now exposed to the web world, to the internet world. And now I'm going to create a simple report using Fiori to expose this data and showcase you the power of new reporting with the help of the new architecture. I'm going to go back. This is my web IDE tool. How did I got this tool? Don't worry. I'm going to explain this in the classes going forward. And I will just connect to the system. Just log in here to my system to now create a Fiori application using this service. Okay, so already everything, the entire environment is configured in my system, but when I take you through the classes, I will take you through this setup of these tools, how to get these tools in your computer, how to connect to the server, and all that things will be covered in detail when we will go into the classes. Okay, so maybe now I'm going to right click and I will say, please create a new Fiori app, and we will use an automatic template to create a Fiori app. Those who have no clue about what is Fiori, don't worry. You can at least create basic Fiori apps out of the box with this training, and you can present it to the end user, deploy, and we'll be able to run this in the systems. And now I will choose a master detail Fiori app, and I will say next. And let's give a Fiori app name, Z Anubhav Demo. And this is my first Fiori app, www.onlinefurytrainings.com. That's our website. And I say oft.com. And I'm going to give a description, my first Fiori app with S4HANA. And I'm going to say finance. It's a finance application. And now I'm going to say next. And now here it asks me, hey, which system are you like to connect? So I will say, I want to connect to my S4HANA system. How did this entry have come? Don't worry about this. We will discuss this in detail when we will go to the classes. Okay, everything will be covered from ground zero, scratch. We are just scratching the surface right now to just understand at a top level what's going on. Of course, these concepts are going to take a little bit of time for you to understand from scratch, but we'll go right every single line of code, understanding on the piece of paper, starting with a blank sheet to make you understand the architecture and building these things up. And now let's give the name of our service once again, which is what I want. Copy that and just mention the service name. This is our service which is created. I'm going to select this and say next. And now here I'll say I want to show this application on a kind of a launch pad, simple launch pad. And I will say my company name should come in the title. And I want to also show my company phone number on the result screen. Yeah, that's what I want to show as of now, and say finish. Now, watch out, guys. This is going to create a very simple report, but guess what? This report is a Fiori report. It is not a normal dialog program, what you used to do in the past. It's actually a Fiori-based application, my friends. Okay, that is the biggest benefit you get with this new architecture by creating a Fiori application. So we have created a Fiori application. So right now in this course, we'll not go deep dive inside the Fiori. We'll just understand the basic concepts of Fiori, and we will be able to sufficiently create a simple web-based Fiori apps on top of our OData service exposed out of CDS views, and also some transactional apps using annotation concept and analytic apps. We will be creating them. But of course, if you want to go deep dive inside coding of Fiori, creating MVC-based Fiori apps, of course, you can go to my website and subscribe my course on Fiori end-to-end development, starting from scratch. You can see this is the module you can go ahead with. SAP UI5 and Fiori development on Web ID with OData service. So this is where we will cover these from scratch, writing every single line of code. So currently, the module which you are currently going through is this module. Of course, whatever knowledge I'll give you here, it's more than sufficient enough to get started with the idea of ABAP on HANA and create a simple basic Fiori application. That's what you will be able to achieve it. Now let's execute our app. Now we're ready. Then let's run this up. I'm gonna execute. I say run, please. And guess what? In just 30 minutes or about an hour, you're able to get a Fiori app created on top of CDS, OData, and a good user experience you are going to get. So it takes a little bit of time because loading the necessary libraries, and you can see now it's asking me my credentials, which proves that it's connecting to a real system. It's not just kind of a dummy app. It's a real productive app which can be delivered to the end users. And voila, now finally it shows me the results over there. You can see SAP, all those business partners are now displayed over here. The beauty of this app, as I mentioned initially, is its feature of adapting itself according to device. So now I'll just show you a little bit of magic over here. I press F12 on my keyboard, and now I will turn my computer, my desktop screen into a mobile screen. So you can see here there is a nice beautiful option on your browser window. When you press F12, this comes up called toggle device toolbar option. And if you click this desktop is going to turn into a mobile device. I'm just going to click that, and wow, see how beautiful the app adapts. You can choose here the devices. Maybe you want to run it in an iPhone X, and this is how it's going to look like in an iPhone X. So that's the beauty. You can also reload probably. So now it's going to load the application. It's going to adapt it. Since iPhone has less screen space as compared to the desktop application, it has automatically made my first list hidden, and now I'm able to see this application in a different way altogether. So with the proper mobile-like experience, which I get it out of the box. That's the biggest benefit of utilizing the Fiori. So you can see here everything gets adopted automatically. You can go to the themes. You can change the themes over here. So the default themes here is Bleeze theme. Of course, you can change the animation, the cozy content. A lot of these amazing features are in place with the Fiori, and you can see it adapts itself automatically based on the device you run. That is the biggest advantage of this new presentation layer, new user experience. Since I switch back to the desktop mode and reload, since I have luxury of space now, You can see here, it shows me now my application running on a desktop mode or a tablet mode. It is going to get me this list on the left and the details on the right. This is so-called a master detail Fiori app. Within just a minute or 45 minutes of time, we are able to create our first application. Imagine what will happen when you complete this 40 hours of Power Pack course with all these detailed concept. You are going to change the way, or you're going to change the perspective, the way you're looking at today the S4HANA or ABAP on HANA architecture. So with that, I'm done with today's demo session. What you need to do next to subscribe to this course, please feel free to write to us on install.abap@gmail.com. For subscribing to this course, we will share all the necessary details. Our batch is starting today. Today was our first session. It's a weekend batch with 7 to 9 p.m. India time every weekend. So we will be completing it about over about let's say 40 hours of total duration. So each weekend we are completing 4 hours. So it's about 10 weekends. So which will come about 2.5 months of time we will be completing this batch. So with that, Anubhav is signing out. Thank you so much for attending this demo session, and I hope to see you on board soon. Many of you already onboarded and you're attending this session for the first time. With that, once again, thank you so much. Keep watching the videos, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Feel free to leave the feedback on the comment box below. Have a nice day and goodbye.